Hello, hello, hello. I'm bringing a little sparkle to everybody tonight. What? This year is almost over. Can you believe it? I can't. I'm looking at what? Christmas is around the corner. I'm Sadia Davis, and I am so happy to be with you tonight. I am the producer and founder, creator of things, right? Reel to reel, developer of entertainment spaces. And here we like to have conversations with filmmakers, individuals who create intellectual property that become real entertainment, as well as developers who create the spaces for entertainment to happen, whether that's in a film studio, a music studio, or just out in the world here in Chicago, creating incredible environments that we live, work, and play in. Tonight, as I come to you, it's almost Christmas. So, for you who haven't quite figured out that right gift, how about for the creative in your life? I might suggest you consider 33 Ways Not to Screw Up Creative Entrepreneurship. You can find it on Amazon, which is really great for the holiday season. Share it with your friends. And all I ask is that you give a very short but honest review. I'm excited to bring that to my friends, my family, and other creative entrepreneurs out there. And something else. Okay, so it's almost Christmas. We've handled that, but we're pushing into the new year. Have you set your plans for the new year? Are you a filmmaker who's looking to do more and participate in filmmaking here in Chicago? Right now, the Chicago Independent Producers Lab, the deadline is January 14th, okay? The Chicago Independent Producers Lab broadens the professional networks and producing expertise of participants through a series of hands-on workshops and one-on-one sessions with local and national industry mentors. Eligibility is specific. Applicants must be a lead producer, and not the director, of a feature-length narrative film project with at least one key attachment. That could be a director, actor, executive producer, like that. Applicants must submit a full draft of a feature-length script. So as many of you are out there that have made some incredible TV narratives, or I should say TV pilots, this isn't quite it. It's for a feature narrative length script. Applicants must own the rights to the submitted script, or they must be in an active negotiation to acquire the rights. These are very key indicators of what you need for the ability to, apply and get accepted. And feel free to go online at fullspectrumfeatures.com /producers-lab to find out more details. So I wish you all very much the success in your producing efforts and your filmmaking abilities. And on that note, it's really a pleasure and a joy to be in conversation with a brilliant, phenomenal filmmaker tonight, and that is Grace Pisula. Grace is a photographer, film producer, editor, colorist, and animator. She is the winner of the Indiana Film Race in 2018, a grand prize plus Best Picture, Best Direction, Best Cinematography, and Best Actor. There was a lot of bests going on there. Named Midwest Filmmaker of the Year in 2019. She also was a Diversified Scholar at the Center for Creative Entrepreneurship. We call it CCE, and 2112 and 2021. She's a Chicago native, first generation Polish American. Grace, what's going on?
Hi, Sadia. Thanks for having me on the show.
Huh?
Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh my God, of course. You're like, someone whose work I absolutely adore. I've had the pleasure of not only working with you, seeing you in action, but also, just getting to know you a little bit as a friend. Tell us a little bit, Grace, about what motivates you.
Out the gate. What motivates me to do what? To
create you. What?
My goodness, this is a hard question just to throw right at me.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, when I look at your work, And I think about the fact that you started Gold Point. It takes a lot for someone to see beyond what they do, what they're passionate about, and then create a company around it. And so I'm just curious, for our viewers and individuals who watch these, it's kind of like when we learn a little bit of your secret sauce, it kind of helps us understand how to navigate and how to do things better in our own world. So it's an origin story of something that maybe sparked your interest in what you do.
Right. Okay. So the realness of what motivates me, like why did I start a company, a video production company? Why do I pursue photography and creative work? If we were to roll the tape back, like way back, when I was in my formative years, like when I was still in high school, there were a lot of people around me who were very supportive of these, we'll say, creative talents, just latent ones existing, not developed. And people were very supportive of it and very vocal about like, hey, I think you have something here and I think you should pursue it. So a lot of it was what motivated me early on was that I was being encouraged. How important is encouragement and sharing positive messages to someone's development in early years. That's what I take away from that. As I got older, and especially after getting some experience in the industry and, going through rounds and rounds of revisions of like, what do I actually want to do with this? What feels good to me? The things that become motivating as you get older are because they say you can't do it.
Oh, right.
It's like the opposite. Well, well, it's a challenge. It has been a challenge to be perceived as a young woman in entertainment. And so that honest to God, this is a lot of why I started my company, is because I wanted to show people that I am a professional. I can run a company. Not only that, I can lead teams of people and I can spend money wisely. I know how to budget and I'm, very resourceful.
Yeah.
But
no, go ahead, Grace.
Sometimes it takes, showing people the thing you can build on your own for people to take you seriously. So that motivates me in many ways, right? That doesn't really speak to like creative process or any of the like fun stuff, but.
Well, no, that absolutely speaks to, you answered the question, and that's important because one, being encouraged helped push you to a level, right? Someone seeing your talent, and then two, being told you can't. Like, wait, really? Oh, let me show you.
Well,
right?
Like, you're not ready. Well, if I'm not ready, I think I'm ready. So I'll just do it myself and see what I can learn if I do it my way. Stuff like that. So that becomes very motivating, where you can start to envision a way of doing things that's beyond the status quo. And for me, I guess, sort of luckily enough, this has been my path. I never worked for a large production company. I don't even work on the big film sets in Chicago, but primarily I'm an independent producer. And every day I get to wake up doing things my way.
Oh, beautiful. Oh my gosh, Grace. That's when, you touched on something that's really important, because as a developer, there are few women that develop, period. And then when we talk about the development of entertainment spaces, it gets even more narrow. And, I think sometimes I'm also encouraged by the fact that there just aren't very many. Like, it kind of like, let me show you what I can do, or, and so I understand that, and I think it's valuable. And if that helps anyone who's watching, who's like, maybe, well, I don't see myself in the room. My thing is, if you don't see yourself, then you're missing, right? So it means that, hey, you need to be at the table. You need to be the one who's putting work out there that you don't see yet. Speaking of some of your work, I'd love to look at some of your work.
All right, let's do it.
So yeah, let's take a look.
They are not joking when they called it one inconvenient location since 1851. Have you ever seen anything like this before?
It was just a dream I had.
This was recorded on the device in question.
Oh my goodness. It's like I was like captivated and spellbound all at the same time.
Mysterious.
Tell me about that. Like, what is that project?
So Golden Voices was the film we created. It was the flagship film of Gold Point Studio, and it was created for the Indiana Film Race. Now, they haven't done the Indiana Film Race since 2018. It was the first time they had done it, but it's an incredible program. I love the idea and the people behind that film competition, because it was a film competition. So means that there were certain constraints to creating this project, but we all had so much fun. So the first thing I did was I built a team. I believe we had like 3 days to make our pitch of like what kind of film we would make. Not only did we get into the competition, but we made our film and we won the whole shebang, the grand prize. That's why you see all those awards there, because each one of my team members basically won an award. And we thought they had stuff there, so that everybody would walk away home with something. And it was a success beyond like our greatest dreams at that time for us to be, especially me. I just started my company and we were all taking chances. Nobody got paid. I told all my people, I was like, I could pay you a little bit now, because they did give us a small budget for the film. It was up to me how we spent it. So I just talked to my team members with Zach Sievers, Lane Marie Williams, Kalika Rose, and Melissa Schlesinger. We also had a production assistant who was local to Indiana, who sort of like tagged on to us. And they also provided all the actors for that movie, which is how we got not only so many great locations provided by the project, but like I think as many as 10 local actors.
Wow.
So just talk about like resource heavy.
Yeah.
1 in a million shot to sort of like make a film. And that's turned into Golden Voices, a project that now serves as our proof of concept for a full-length series that's currently in development and has been in development since 2018. So we have like the whole first season written. I'm about to go on a retreat with the writer, Zach Sievers, and a few other folks.
Nice.
Where we're going to basically package this thing. So Golden Voices is on Amazon Prime. Like anyone can go watch it.
Awesome.
And it's a short film. So
beautiful. It's so cool. I will say that I will not take for granted a good retreat. I have a special place in Wisconsin that I go to thanks to a very dear friend. And I go alone. And it's literally where I have developed the vision behind the theater that I developed on the West Side in Austin. And it was the next space where I developed the vision for the film studio, right, that I'm building. So retreats, to get to a place of quiet, to get to a space where you and your partners can ideate and create, I think it's very valuable. And if you can find the time to do that, I encourage people to do it as well. Or if you just go alone, just make sure somebody knows where you are.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was like, kudos to you for going alone. I think I often think about going places and doing things alone, and I do, but it terrifies the heck out of me. And I think that deep down, that sort of also tells me that you need to do it. For us to step out of our comfort zone is what I mean. At a very basic level, that's where all the good stuff is.
That's where the magic hides. Let's see some more of your work.
Okay.
As I got close to the moon, I heard your sweet lips say, I'm the devil, I'm the rebel, I'm that evil, twisted witch. winds of their sin.
Television mode on 2020, I was off track, now I'm back ready. If it ain't a bag, don't talk with me. I need all the cake like Lil Debbie. 5 send me, I call it petty, cause it's used for nothing. Over dimes and pennies, my bag heavy, my bag heavy. Then I'm over the snoozing and all these episodes of Home Improvement. Man, I'ma lose it if you don't get your gluteus moving and coming and scoop me up. Then I'm booting this earth in my room, I'm flying a coop. And I got a fresh pair of Pumas, I'm pouring gin in my Dixie cup. Wasn't born yesterday, and today needs to pick me up. I'm like, whoa. Slow down, I'm coming right now. When you move to Tijuana, birds calling and daylight some drama, and no one cares about your drama, and you wanna run back home to your mama. Meanwhile, I want you. Meanwhile, I want you.
That was just like a lot. That was very, so are those the different animated clips of different projects?
Yeah, so we put together an animation reel
Okay.
that was kind of like, supposed to be a radio TV dial
Oh, cool.
going through all the animated videos that we made for artists in 2020. So like when shelter in place was declared,
Wow.
and we had nowhere to be, there was no work, there was nothing to do. Melissa Schlesinger, who's a partner of mine in the company, we decided that we would just start animating. And animation is something that I went to school for, but it's not something that I always was asked for, like in demand for my services. I always focused on cinematography and photography and things like that. And at the time, Melissa was learning a lot of animation. So those were all videos we made just in that year.
You made those videos?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So
Yeah.
talk to us a little bit about being a colorist and what does that mean? No, seriously, because
Yeah. Well, coloring, I see it as mainly two things: your color grading and your color correction. Correcting is when you are editing a film or you're cutting scenes together in a movie, and you need to make corrective adjustments for things to look like they're matching. And then the grading is more of the creative, and the more adding of the drama, using color science and things like that, and using a color, brightness, luminosity to really make the picture come alive. And I'll say that before I was a colorist, and when I was still really sort of like an amateur cinematographer, I was editing photography, landscape, architectural, even weddings professionally. So a lot of what I did, when I learned and finally decided to become a colorist, it was because people were asking me to edit films, and I was editing my own clips that I was shooting as I was learning. But a lot of the same theories apply, from stills, all the terminology and things like that, the technology, just now for movies.
well, I wanted to ask that because I've noticed from your work that you have such brilliant, sharp colors. And I'm glad that you mentioned illumination, because all of that is not to be taken for granted. Like, that's a skill that I didn't even realize is something that's continuous in some of your work. And a light should be shined on that.
Can I tell you something that I'm like really proud of? Is something somebody said to me.
Yeah.
I forget which project it was, and I'm so sorry if they happen to see this and they're like, that was my project. Somebody came to me for coloring work, and so I was talking to them. I was like, how are we going to do this? And, yada, yada. And they're like, well, I'm going to be honest, it's between you and Periscope. And I don't know who to choose. And obviously choose me. No hate on Periscope, but that just that gave me so much confidence. Like, holy crap.
So for those of you who are watching, feel free to Google Periscope. And we love Mike Nays at Periscope. And it's a beautiful, large company, post audio and editing
Color, yeah.
and color here in Chicago and in LA. But that says something about you as a creative and as an entrepreneur, that when you're really good at what you do, sometimes that client is choosing between you and the establishment. And that is a beautiful gift. which I would imagine would push you forward. I wanted to just, you also are a photographer, and I know that we have some clips of you shooting. Maybe we could show that. That's great. So you're shooting multiple people in their businesses. Tell us a little bit about that, because a lot of people need great headshots, business headshots.
Yeah. It's still sort of a dream of mine to have my own brick and mortar studio space,
Okay.
until that becomes, something that I can manifest into existing. I have been so grateful for the scholarship that I have to be a cohort member at 2112. It's where I am right now. I'm using one of their breakout rooms to be in a place where I can focus and talk to you. They have what's called the Comcast Startup Business Studio. And so I was like, this is the perfect way I get to use my membership. I will just treat this studio as if it was mine.
Yes.
And so once a month I booked, I did this over the summer primarily. And now, things are sort of busy and things are resetting for the new year. So I haven't done it. People can still book me in the studio. I just don't have any preset dates. So what I did in the summer was I had preset dates. I would tell everybody when those dates are so that in one session for me, I could see as many as 10 people. And yes, I would do headshots. We had artists come in looking just for some, promotional social media content. So this is great for anybody who is a content creator also, or a creative and just looking for sort of repeat content. If they want to come see me once a month, they could do that. I'd also want to shout out somebody who's very important, special, and talented as well, who's appeared not only in the in that like photography clip, because she's my friend. Her name's Yasmin Shawamri. Mama Yaya. I also did a couple like animated videos for her as well. If you recognize her, if anybody out there is recognizing her, it's because she was on Alter Ego.
Oh.
She was Siren. And holy crap, she's the most talented, I think, vocalist I've known my whole life.
Wow.
And to just not only know her, but to be able to work for her and create for her has been really, really dreamy, because I just love working with artists and musicians. I work primarily in entertainment, so like I'm usually around a lot of creative people, but that's really sort of where my soul shines. I even have this like no music, no life.
Nice.
Nice.
Well,
So,
I know that of you, and it's because of the Center for Creative Entrepreneurship, which I launched in partnership with 2112 with Scott Fetters last year, that we created this Diversify Scholarship, right? Which allowed us to provide what you said, Grace, a full membership to 2112, which is a creative incubator, an innovation center here in Chicago. So to be able to have not only witnessed your strengths, your talent, your abilities, but also, like I said, to get to know you. And one of your other musicians that I just love and talk about color is Fury, and her video, I Won't. And I won't show it to you right now, unfortunately.
oh,
I mean, I love it, but it's challenging to show the YouTube clip. But I would suggest that people can go to YouTube and look up Fury, which is spelled Fury, and her clip, I Won't, because it really shows how you move through the city, Grace, your visuals. Also, I tend to shout this out about you because I always like to find and spotlight the distinction of who you are. So as a filmmaker, she also has a drone license and is, capable of shooting high level, literally, look, my producer's in the background clapping. Okay, my producer is in the background clapping, because the reality is that something in a city like Chicago, which has beautiful architecture, you can fly that. You can fly over the lake, the water. You have the ability to create high-level visuals for individuals who are looking for that for their particular narrative. So I'm always going to spotlight that when you don't. I personally am so excited and can't wait to work with you in that capacity. Let me ask you if there are any 3 tips that you would give an emerging filmmaker, an emerging colorist, cinematographer, all the things that you do that have worked for you. 3 tips, what would that be?
3 things that work for me. This is tips for emerging.
Yeah, it could be a professional and they just haven't done something. You have like a hack that you're like, oh,
Pull from this hat. Maybe it'll work for you.
yeah.
What can I say? It's really important to surround yourself with people who believe in you, first of all. That community can't be understated. Also, as creatives, don't we want to foster these supportive, communities ourselves? I feel like that's how I got started in with my business. Was the business didn't come first, the people came first, and there was like enough support for this idea that we decided to organize ourselves in some way. And that's not only been true for the business, but that's been true for every sort of project that we've done. It's very process oriented, very people oriented. What else can I say? For anybody who's self-employed, I'd say make a schedule at the top of your week. It's very easy to get lost in your week. And tip number 3. So I got some like community stuff. I got like practical, like scheduling. What tip number 3? Find something that really, really feels like it matters to you. I'll say this from personal experience. I definitely made some shift from I'm doing this because people think I'm good at it. And it took me a while for me to believe that I was good at it, because I was also like not very good at like disempowering the haters, because there will be haters. That's something I'm much better at doing now. Just dispelling sort of like the negativity around it. So that would be a very good number 3 tip, is just stick to what you're doing. Be methodical about what you're doing. Surround yourself with people who matter, and really ground yourself and like make sure that what you're doing feels good to you, so that you have then the power and the strength to be like, hell with y'all. I got this.
Yes. I mean, that is so key. Gosh, and so many creatives and just people in general, right, who take a leap, become an entrepreneur and do their business, sometimes don't value that in themselves. They're just doing the work. So it is important.
Because we romanticize it.
You romanticize it. Other people are romanticizing it. But it's important to not only celebrate your wins, but say thank you to you. Say thank you and receive the compliments that others give you. Let it wash over you, right? And let that continue to power you through. So thank you so much, Grace. This has been such an incredible talk. It was worth the wait, and making sure we got you in before the end of the year.
Yeah, we had tried to schedule this like since September. And and how crazy is it that some, things sometimes take time, and it's important not to get disheartened in your process.
Yes.
Creativity takes time. You can't force it. You can't, you don't know sometimes where things come from, the inspiration or the stars aligning, and, and so this feels like this was the right time to do this, Saudi.
Yes!
The right time. I got
is.
my sparkles too, because we're like trusted now. And
You got my sparkles, your sparkles. And I say to you, I live my life in grace. I am thankful to you, Grace. And I wish you all the continued success, and everything that you are putting out there in the world matters. You matter most before anything else. So finding that time to recharge and really just be you and do you. Thank you.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, I know. So the dog's like, hey, it's a wrap. Time to go. So thank you so much to Grace Pisula for being with us here tonight. And I am really wishing all of you that you take time to be with your loved ones, even when you can't see them in person. Pick up the phone and FaceTime them. It's the closest way that we can get to one another when we can't be with each other in person. A lot of people have lost people in this last year. Our hearts are heavy, and yet our hearts are full. So I ask that you keep your heart open. It's what allows us to love one another. Keep your mind free. Allow yourself to create and allow that creativity to just drop in and celebrate each other and yourself during this holiday season as we push into that new year of 2022. I'm ready for it. Let's go. Happy New Year and Merry Christmas, everybody.